The Widow, Episode 04. It was night, and the large, bright moon illuminated the sinister shadow that slithered through the mansion's window. The widow, Isabela, felt a shiver run down her spine, even with the warmth of the nearby fireplace. An anonymous note, with only one word written in blood-red ink, "Careful," lay in her trembling hand. Who would dare threaten Isabela, now that she was finally finding new love in Daniel's arms? Was her late husband Ricardo's past returning to haunt her? Or was it the jealous brother, Eduardo, willing to do anything to keep her for himself, even if it meant the end of her happiness? The answer was closer than she imagined. The night was dark, so dark it seemed to suck even the starlight. Inside the large mansion, with its long corridors filled with shadows that seemed to dance, Isabela hugged herself close to the warmth of the fireplace. The fire crackled, but it couldn't warm the fear that chilled her heart. In her hand, like a black fire petal, was the note. A single word, "Careful," written in such vibrant red ink that it looked like fresh blood, pulsed in her soul. She felt a chill run through her body, even with the warm flame so close. Who would dare send this? Who was threatening her? Isabela was a beautiful, strong woman, with a beauty reminiscent of the shine of a cut diamond. After the death of Ricardo, her beloved husband, she had sworn never to love again. Her heart, once a blooming garden, had transformed into a frozen, impenetrable desert. But Daniel, with his warm smile and gaze that seemed to read her soul, had begun to melt the snow that covered her heart. Daniel, a gentle and mysterious man, had a charm that mesmerized her, an embrace capable of warming even the coldest soul. She felt safe with him, as if protected by an invisible fortress. But fear, like a stubborn shadow, continued to haunt her. The memory of Ricardo, her late husband, a powerful and ambitious man, was like an open wound in her memory. His business empire, vast and complex, involved secrets and enemies. Would someone from Ricardo's past be threatening her? Someone seeking revenge for his death? The thought chilled her blood. Then there was Eduardo, Ricardo's brother. Eduardo, a handsome and charming man on the outside, but who hid a dark and possessive heart. He had always secretly loved Isabela, a passion bordering on obsession. Ricardo's death had opened a path for him, a path he seemed willing to travel, even if it meant stepping on the shards of Isabela's heart. Eduardo had always been like a shadow in her life, watching, waiting for the right moment to approach and try to steal what was hers, the only person who managed to melt the ice in her heart. The possibility of Eduardo being behind the threat was the most frightening. He was capable of anything, capable of any atrocity to possess her. The mansion seemed to whisper secrets in every corner, in every corridor. The wind howled outside, as if it were a warning cry, a desperate rush to tell something terrible. Isabela stood up, the note weighing heavily in her hand. The fireplace now seemed like only a weak point of light in a sea of darkness. She walked slowly, each step resounding in the silence of the house, each shadow seeming like a monster waiting to reveal itself. Suddenly a metallic clang. Isabela froze, fear seizing her with all its might. Her heart beat strongly against her ribs, like a bird trapped in a cage. Cautiously, she followed the direction of the sound, fear giving her supernatural strength. The darkness seemed to come alive, the walls transforming into threatening beings. Every corner seemed to hide an imminent danger, waiting for the exact moment to strike. Reaching the dining room, illuminated only by the moonlight coming through the windows, Isabela saw something that took her breath away, a metal object lying on the floor near the room's door. It was a bracelet, a thin and elegant bracelet of silver and diamonds, a bracelet she recognized. It was Eduardo's bracelet. Isabela felt a lump in her throat. The threat wasn't an anonymous shadow. It was real, it was very close to her. And the face of Ricardo's brother, her former secret love, now her enemy, was becoming clearer in her mind. Fear mixed with anger, an anger that boiled in her veins, burning everything in its path. He dared to threaten her. She wouldn't be intimidated. The fight for her happiness was only just beginning, and she was willing to fight to the end. The game had begun, and the stake was her heart, her future, her life. The question echoing in her ears was, how far would Eduardo go to have her? The night was dense, like a black veil embroidered with shy stars. The note, with the word "careful" written in a red that looked like fresh blood, burned Isabela's soul. The warmth of the fireplace couldn't melt the ice forming in her heart. Ricardo, her late husband, was a living memory, a ghost whispering dark secrets from her past. His business empire, a labyrinth of power and intrigue, could harbor mortal enemies, eager for revenge. The threat could come from any corner of this web. But there was another danger, closer, more palpable. Eduardo, Ricardo's brother, with his dissembling charm and icy heart, harbored a sick passion for Isabela. A passion he always hid, an underground flame that now threatened to explode into a devastating fire. The possibility of Eduardo being the author of the threat was a sharp sword in Isabela's heart. He had always been like a shadow, silent and observant, waiting for the opportunity to possess her, even if it meant destroying everything in his path. The new love, Daniel, was a balm on her wounded soul. He was the sun that slowly melted the ice that imprisoned her, a refuge from the shadows of the past. His smile was a ray of hope, his gaze a safe haven. Isabela felt protected in his arms, but the shadow of the threat prevented her from completely surrendering to happiness. The mansion, with its dark and long corridors, seemed to conspire against her, whispering secrets in the corners, amplifying the fear with each step. The wind howled outside like a funeral lament, and with each gust, Isabela felt a shiver that froze her bones. She felt trapped, cornered in the middle of a deadly game, not knowing who the players were or what the outcome would be. A metallic noise, like the scraping of metal against the floor, cut through the silence. Isabela's heart leaped, beating strongly against her ribs in a frantic rhythm. Fear, an invisible monster, clung to her throat, suffocating her. With hesitant but firm steps, she followed the direction of the sound, each shadow transforming into a potential threat. With each step, the fear grew, becoming as real a presence as the walls surrounding her. In the dining room, under the ghostly light of the moon, Isabela found the answer to her fears. On the floor, near the door, lay a metal object, shining faintly, a thin and elegant bracelet of silver and diamonds. A bracelet she knew well. It was Eduardo's bracelet. A shock ran through Isabela's body, from the top of her head to her toes. It wasn't an anonymous threat, a vague fear. It was Eduardo, her tormentor who was near, very near. The discovery was like a lightning bolt, illuminating the darkness and revealing the imminent danger. Anger boiled in her blood, mixing with the fear that consumed her. She wouldn't be intimidated. The fight for her happiness was beginning now, and she was willing to face him, even if the price was too high. The cruel game had begun, and the stake was her heart, her future. She knew that Eduardo was capable of anything to possess her, and the question that haunted her like a specter was, how far would he go to destroy her happiness and seize what wasn't his? The fight for her soul had begun, and Isabela was willing to fight until her last breath. The night was a dark veil over the mansion, heavy as the secret Isabela carried in her chest. The note, with the word "careful" written in blood-red ink, had burned her soul, leaving a trail of terror and uncertainty. The fireplace, once a refuge of warmth, now seemed like only a fragile point of light against the darkness closing in on her. Ricardo, her late husband, father of her children, weighed on her memory like an anchor at the bottom of the sea, his dark dealings and powerful enemies looming like implacable threats. Was someone from Ricardo's past threatening her? An enemy seeking revenge? The idea chilled her blood. But there was another shadow, closer, more menacing, Eduardo, Ricardo's brother, with his charming smile and icy heart. Eduardo, who had always loved her in secret, with a sick passion, an obsession that shone in his dark eyes. Ricardo's death had opened a path for Isabela, a path he seemed willing to travel, even if it meant destroying her happiness. The idea of Eduardo being behind the threat was the most terrifying of all. He was capable of anything, capable of any atrocity to possess her. Daniel, her new love, was a ray of sunshine that pierced the darkness of her soul. His gentle affection and protective embrace melted the ice that had formed in her heart. But the threat looming over her prevented her from completely surrendering to happiness. The mansion, with its long corridors and dancing shadows, seemed to conspire against her, whispering menacing secrets with every step. The wind howled outside like a funeral lament, amplifying the fear that gnawed at her insides. She felt trapped, cornered in a deadly game. Suddenly, a metallic sound cut through the silence like a dagger tearing through the night. Isabela's heart raced, beating strongly against her ribs, a frantic drum of fear. Her breath caught in her throat, as if an invisible monster were suffocating her. With hesitant but determined steps, she followed the direction of the sound, each shadow transforming into a potential enemy. Fear consumed her, each step an act of courage. In the dining room, illuminated by the cold light of the moon, Isabela stopped, her eyes fixed on something that froze her blood in her veins. On the floor, near the door, lay a shining metal object, a bracelet. A thin and elegant bracelet of silver and diamonds, a familiar bracelet, which she knew very well. It was Eduardo's bracelet. The discovery was like a lightning bolt, breaking through the darkness and revealing the terrible truth. It wasn't an anonymous threat, it wasn't a ghost from the past. It was Eduardo, near her, very near. Anger boiled in her blood, mixing with the fear that consumed her. Had he dared to threaten her? Had he dared to invade her house and try to intimidate her? A wave of courage erupted in her heart. She wouldn't be intimidated. The fight for her happiness was only just beginning, and she was willing to fight with all her might. The game had begun, and the stake was her heart, her future, her life. She knew that Eduardo was capable of anything, that his sick passion transformed him into a dangerous being, capable of the greatest cruelties. The question that echoed in her mind, louder than the howling wind outside, was, how far was Eduardo willing to go to destroy her? How far would he go to steal her happiness, to possess her by force? The fight for her soul, for her life, had begun, and Isabela, with her heart full of fear and anger, was ready to fight. Isabela, her heart pounding like a war drum, bent down to pick up the bracelet. The cold silver touched her skin, and a shiver, deeper than any cold wind, ran through her body. It was undeniable, Eduardo's bracelet, the irrefutable proof of the threat. But, as she examined it, a detail made her stop. A small strand of light brown hair was caught on one of the diamond beads. Isabela examined it carefully. It wasn't Eduardo's hair. It was a fine hair, almost invisible, but undeniably different. Blonde hair ... Daniel's hair. An icy chill invaded Isabela. She stood up abruptly, the certainty that had previously filled her now replaced by a terrifying confusion. Daniel? The man who seemed to be her shield against the shadows? The man who was melting the ice in her heart? Was Daniel involved somehow? Was that threat a weapon to get closer to her? Or would it be something worse ... a trap? She ran to the phone, her hands trembling, her throat dry. She frantically dialed Daniel's number, but the phone only gave a busy signal. She tried again and again, with each frustrated call, the terror increasing, squeezing her chest like an iron hand. Where was Daniel, and why was his phone busy? The front door of the mansion creaked, a sound that echoed like thunder on that tense night. Isabela turned, her heart racing, expecting to see Eduardo, but who appeared in the doorway was not Eduardo. A tall and thin man, dressed in black, his face hidden by the shadows of a wide-brimmed hat. He didn't say anything, he just pointed a gun at Isabela and fired. The screen went dark. Isabela fell, Eduardo's bracelet and Daniel's strand of hair rolling across the cold floor, as silent witnesses to a new and terrible plot. But was it the end? Or just the beginning of something much worse? Who had shot her? Was Daniel really guilty? Or was there someone behind him, manipulating him? The mystery deepened, leaving Isabela at the mercy of fate and darkness, her survival hanging by a thread. The gunshot echoed not only through the mansion but in every corner of Isabela's soul.